Welcome to Showtime with Andrew G. I am having a chat with a director, a performer, a choreographer, and an awesome person, Leah Osburn, about a particular show that she's working on at the moment, but we'll probably have a chat about all sorts of stuff as well. Leah, hi.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. I know you're working on a year with Frog and Toad at the moment at Beaumaris Theatre, and I'd love to have a chat to you about that. But you've done a lot in theatre.
Yeah, some people have it as a hobby. I call it my addiction. It's what fills my cup up. I've got work and I've got family, but this is really what makes me me, and I love doing shows, and I love seeing shows and being in shows and creating shows. So, it's my passion.
You've done pretty much everything there is to do in musical theatre. You've performed, you've choreographed, you've directed. Don't think you've musically directed yet, but surely that's only a matter of time.
Unfortunately, the musical talent is my weakness. So I always say I'm a dancer first. I grew up doing sort of Broadway style dancing as a kid, and then acting obviously came through with drama lessons at high school, and then going to uni. But unfortunately, the music talent is my lack. So as much as I love singing, I'm not a strong singer. I'm very good ensemble member. I'm a perfect ensemble member, but the musical talent isn't there. So that's why I very much respect our musical directors and our bands, because that's something that I can't do.
What started it for you? What got you to fall in love with live theatre?
Obviously, the dance lessons that I started with, I was in sort of a theatrical dance school, so we did a lot more tap and song and dance rather than ballet or the sort of the more technical dancing. And that sort of helped open my eyes up to the different types of songs from a lot of the golden era of musical theatre. We did a lot of 42nd Street style songs for tap dancers, and I think that sort of sparked my interest. And then as a dance school, we saw The Boy from Oz open up with Todd McKenney as Peter Allen, and that was my first experience. And I think I just loved the glitz and the glamour and the whole experience of live performance. And I just think it's different. It's a different vibe to anything else.
And how did you go from that to directing musicals?
I do like telling people what to do, so that also helps. And I was very much that person as a child. My sister did an amateur show while she was in high school, and I always admired that and wanted to follow in her footsteps a little bit. And mum and dad said I couldn't do a show until I was in high school. So year 7, I was in with Aspect Theatre in Aspendale. I did The Mikado with them at Shirley Burke Theatre, and I was only 12, so I was the young high school age, but it didn't matter. I was in high school, so I could do it. And I guess the more shows then I started to participate in, the more I became curious about the other aspects, because when you're a performer, you sort of turn up to rehearsal, you learn it, you perform it, you get the applause, it's great. But when you start to really understand all the things behind the scenes, all of the sets and the props and, how does the script convert into choreography, I used my dance background to start choreographing and be on a production team that way. And that gave me the ability to learn from different directors and see their skills and strengths and sort of see what kind of director maybe I wanted to be. And it really was a lot of those directors that said to me whenever I would give notes or we'd talk about a production, they said, have you ever thought about directing? And, I was probably my own, self, oh, I don't know, I'm not ready, I don't know. But really I got the support from all the community around me, and that's what sort of gave me the confidence to start directing. And once I started doing it, people enjoyed the shows that I put together, people enjoyed the time at rehearsals, and I love it. So it was just meant to be, is how I feel.
It's obviously something that not only are you really passionate about, but you're really good at. You've done a lot of shows. I've had the privilege of seeing some of your shows, and it's great that it's something that you found that's a passion that you're as passionate about today, it seems, as you were when you first discovered it.
Absolutely, and it definitely grows with all the networking. One of the things I love is that even though there are some times that you might end up working on, consecutive shows with people, there's always new people that do come in, and you get to meet different people, and you get to know them so intimately over those, course of the rehearsals and production week jam-packed in, and you're in each other's pocket for that whole week as you all live in the theatre, and it's, pressure cooker of stress that you're all in it together. And I think that's what I really love about community theatre, is about the fact that you can't have a show without backstage. You can't have a show without the band. You can't have a show without the technical team, your front of house. You can't have a show without the audience. Everyone is a part of it and everyone's important. So I think that's the most thing I love about it, is bringing people together and, having a great time together.
What are 3 bucket list shows for you to either perform in or direct in?
There you go. Well, see, A Year with Frog and Toad, which we will talk about in a minute, was my ultimate bucket list show, and I'm obviously at the moment so thankful to be able to direct it. The other shows that I've got, I guess, on my list, one is another small musical called Daddy Longlegs, which I was introduced to by Michelle Thomas down at People's Playhouse. We did the last 5 years last year, which is a small 2-person show, and she introduced me to Daddy Longlegs, which is a 2-person show. So that's another one that is on my list now. And If/Then is another one that you yourself has produced, and you know that it is quite a special show, and it's that sliding doors moment about choices, and it's got great ensemble numbers. It's got a fabulous leading female. So that's a show that I would also love to sort of create. And now that Frog and Toad's off the list, I've started listening to Kimberly Akimbo, which won Best Musical at the Tonys last year, and that one's sort of sparking my interest too. But I've taken a step back from performing in musicals just because I feel old now. My body doesn't dance the way that it used to, and I'm not a singer. So I've started to perform in plays more so than musicals, but I love to create musicals still.
So you mentioned Daddy Longlegs and Last 5 Years, both two-handers, 2 people in the cast. What is it about the small shows that attracts you to them?
I think I like being able to bring different stories to the community that don't get, showcased very often. It is hard for community theatre companies to put on a smaller show because it is a risk, to get ticket sales. They're not getting show fees from cast. They may not, get the word of mouth from a big ensemble who can sell more tickets. So it is a bit of a risk for companies. But when they do put in that risk, we can create some really beautiful shows that don't get done very often and tell a different story that people may not even have heard about. So and obviously an intimate cast, easier to manage as a director, I guess. But it definitely has a different feel to it.
Do you have a pre-show routine?
I don't have a pre-show routine. I am finding that previously I would sit in the audience and watch the shows that I do, but I'm actually finding more and more that I actually want to be backstage helping as much as I can where possible. So I'm working backstage at A Year with Frog and Toad and helping with, the props and sort of quick changes. And previously I assisted with Little Miss Sunshine last year, and I was backstage for that. And it just gave me a whole nother take on it and a whole nother purpose, I guess. And so I'm actually really enjoying that aspect of it. So the new routine is about checking that everything's in place for props and sets, whereas before it'd be more about, doing the warm-ups and then sitting in the audience waiting for the show to happen. And that just built up a whole different stress and anxiety because you sit in the audience, you can't do anything. You can't control anything. Whereas at least backstage, I just feel like I can help. If there's a problem, I'm there to help fix it. Yeah.
What is your favourite musical theatre show of all time?
I'd probably say the one show that I can watch over and over again and not get sick of is probably Gypsy. It's one where, I had a VHS tape of the Bette Midler movie, and I watched that to death over and over and over again. And every time I've seen it performed, whether it's been a professional production or a community production, I just love it. And, it's just clever writing, beautiful story. Just one of my favourites.
What's a book or a movie that you hope gets made into a musical?
I think one of the ones that I've spoken about with friends and especially my best friend James, we've spoken about the fact that if we had the talent to be able to write music and be able to just create a show, off the bat, I think Heart and Soul with Robert Downey Jr. It's got the 4 ghosts in it. I hope there's no spoilers for anyone that's watching it, but that they obviously have got their own stories, which would really allow for a musical show to have those, moments of time and special songs. And it's, I think Heart and Souls, that would be a brilliant adaptation into a musical theatre show.
We've teased a couple of times about A Year with Frog and Toad, which is on right now at Beaumaris Theatre. Tell us a little bit about the show.
Yeah, so A Year with Frog and Toad is based on the Arnold Lobel books. They are children's books. So his daughter had the vision in wanting to create it into a musical, and got two brothers to write the book and the music for A Year with Frog and Toad. And it's basically the year. So they come out of hibernation and they travel through the 4 seasons and get up to all little adventures throughout a whole year. And there's Frog and Toad, the 2 leading males, and then there's 3 players who are basically playing all the other animals that they interact with. So we've got turtles and snails and squirrels and moles, lizards and mice and everything. So it's just a really cute story. The music is really jazzy, so it's quite a swing feel to it, but it's got nods to a lot of traditional musical theatre. You listen to songs and think, oh, this reminds me of The Wizard of Oz, this reminds me of this, and it kind of has that feel to it. And so I kind of kept saying to people, like, it's like Wind in the Willows, but like really boldly American, really loud. But it's fun for all ages. So a lot of people think, oh, it's just for children. No, it's for children at heart as well. It's not, like a pantomime for children. It's just an easy watch for children that they can be captivated in there. But it's a beautiful story about friendship. And yeah, it's just a wonderful musical that hasn't had a lot of exposure. So I'd love to bring it to Melbourne.
It sounds awesome. And it's on right now until the 16th of March. How do people get tickets?
That's right. So Beaumaris Theatre, their website has the tickets, or if you go to the Beaumaris Theatre social media pages, there'll be ticket links there. We have Friday nights, 7:30 shows, and we've got Saturday 2 p.m. matinees, a Sunday 2 p.m. matinee, and then on the final 16th, we've got a 7:30 Saturday show.
Thank you so much for having a chat. Shook us for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, look forward to seeing, as I said to you, unfortunately, I can't make it because of other theatre commitments that I've got, but I'm hearing some fantastic feedback on the show, and congratulations to you and, of course, the entire team. And it's a big team that has to work together to put a show like this on stage. So congratulations to everyone, and shook us for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.